Hello, and welcome to Aging Matters. This is a show that is provided by and sponsored by the Berks County Area Agency on Aging. My name is Ann Barlet. I'm the Public Advocacy and Outreach Manager for the agency. Our show today is a special one with regards to nutrition, since it is National Nutrition Month. And my guest with me today, or I'm with you today, is Meredith McGrath, and she is a registered dietitian and the corporate dietitian for Redners Markets. So thank you for taking the time today to invite us into your home and to talk to us a little bit about National Nutrition Month, and share with us, if you will, there's always a theme each year. So share with us the theme and kind of sort of what that means.
So I always get excited to think about what the theme can be. We typically find out in January. So in January, they released the theme that was Beyond the Table. And I know, Anne, when I passed that information on to you, you were like, what exactly does that mean? Well, when you think about it, so there's so much that goes on with food beyond the table. So it's not just about what's for dinner. It's thinking about how is our food grown? How's our food produced? Going shopping at Redners Markets, deciding what to eat. And then also, where are some other places we eat? We're not always just sitting at a dinner table or at a lunch table. We really we're on the go. We're having snacks out and about. We may be at work. We may be at school, be going on vacation, on road trips. So there's so much more that really all encompasses nutrition and the food that we eat.
All righty. So they're all dying, I'm sure, to see what we're going to be doing. So what we talked about is there are 3 must-have recipes that Meredith has for us to share with us today. How did you choose these particular 3 must-have recipes?
Well, I don't use that term lightly, but I will tell you, in my 17-year career at Redners, these have been the absolute most popular. And I do not go anywhere without these in my back pocket because people have absolutely loved them. So when I think about choosing a recipe, for myself personally or for work, I'm always thinking about a few things. Number one, is it in my budget? We have to make sure that these are all very budget friendly. Is it quick? Is it convenient? Is it something that I can do? And can I teach others to do it? And then, of course, is it tasty? This may actually be number 1 for most people, because if it's not tasty, we certainly don't want to eat it. So these 3 recipes are tried and true recipes that throughout all the years, people have absolutely loved. And I use them a lot in my own household. So,
well, and hopefully they're simple and easy for those of us who agree with all the other things, including simple and easy and tasty.
Yes. Well, you will see we will have all 3 of these done in only just a few minutes.
Okay. All righty. Well, I don't want to hold anything up from us, going right to the 3 easy recipes. So what's the first one we're going to start with?
So the first recipe is walnut Mexican street corn tacos. It's a long name, but yet still a very easy recipe. And this recipe can be found at walnuts.org, and it is from our friends at California Walnuts. I absolutely love using recipes that involve walnuts. You will see we have 2 of them today, and that is a little bit of an accident, but not necessarily, because walnuts are so healthy. You think about all those fatty acids, the heart healthy fatty acids, the fiber, the protein, the antioxidants. So there's a lot of nutrition punch in a little bit of those, one of our favorite nuts. Okay. So a few things that we're going to do to get started. We're going to get out a food processor. So if you have a food processor, a chopper, a blender, whatever you have, and then all we're going to do is just simply dump the ingredients inside. So we're going to start with our walnuts.
That's not much.
That's roughly about 1.5 cups. And then the next secret ingredient, not so much a secret, but one of my favorites, of course, mushrooms. These are affordable and so nutritious. They are one of the very few food items that naturally have vitamin D. And we know, especially in the winter months, how important vitamin D is. We're finding more and more nutrition information out about it. And so what these do is these almost act as a replacement for ground beef. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with ground beef. That is also very nutritious. But when we think about cost savings and maybe shaving off some calories and shaving off some fat, a plant-based meal from time to time is certainly something that you may want to consider. So the mushrooms, not only are they going to add that vitamin D, they're also going to add umami, that flavor enhancer that just makes things taste so good. When you think about mushrooms and onions, there's a reason they put them in so much, because they are just so tasty and they bring out all the flavor. So we have our mushrooms in next, and then some of our seasonings. So again, very basic. We have our cumin, we have chili powder, and then a little minced garlic. I'm going to add that here to the food processor. And I really wanted to show this part because it's so important to see exactly what kind of texture that we're looking for.
Okay.
Next, we're going to add in our liquids, which is a little bit of soy sauce and, of course, our fresh lime juice.
I was going to say, yeah, it doesn't look like a lot of liquids, though.
There's not much going on here. And then we're going to do a little, it's going to get a tad bit noisy for a second, if my lid wants to cooperate with me. I like using the smaller food chopper processor because there's a little bit more control when it comes to pull film. So, and you can.
And it's still so visual. Yeah.
Exactly. So you can see how we're starting to get that texture we're looking for. Because it's pretty full here, I'm going to go in with my spatula, kind of just take it down from the sides. And I'm going to give it one more tad pulse. And I'm going to bring it close for our viewers at home. Absolutely. And of course, you could get this however you like, but you could really see the texture here that is brought about by the walnuts and the mushrooms. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to head over to the stove. And this is really simple. You're going to take your mixture, which is essentially your meat substitute mixture, and you will just lightly spray or use a little bit of olive oil in your pan. Okay. I have converted to the spray. This is like 2 years now I've been doing this, just so that I have a little bit more control and use a little bit less, right? So we have our oil heating up here, and then simply we are going to add in our mixture. And this is honestly only going to stay on the stove for about 7 to 8 minutes. So I told you it was quick and convenient, Ann.
Yeah. Well, and some individuals have difficulty standing for periods of time.
Absolutely.
So they can, if they've done that, even if they're sitting by the stove, it's not, standing or sitting, it's not a long period of time.
Yes. So one other step while that is kind of on the stove here is the chipotle sauce.
Okay.
So this is very simple. You're going to use 1.5 tablespoons of chipotle adobo sauce, and then mix that with a half cup of low-fat sour cream. So of course, I love my Daisy sour cream. Mix that together, and you could put it in the refrigerator after you mix it, just so that it could start to settle while you're waiting for the actual taco mix to get cooked. And that is really all for those tacos. So we are going to let this taco bake for a couple minutes.
Okay.
And we can move right on to the next recipe.
Oh, okay.
I know you have me on a short timeline here because you want to see how quick and convenient these recipes really are.
All righty.
Okay, so the next one is called Kale Quinoa Salad with Balsamic-Glazed Walnuts, Cranberries and Feta.
Slow that down. Kale Quinoa Salad.
Yep.
With, I heard the
Balsamic-Glazed Walnuts, Cranberry and Feta.
Sounds good.
That's a lot, right? It's a lot.
It sounds good.
But it's so, and it's funny because whenever you say that and you lead with the title of this recipe, people are like, what am I eating? And then they try it, and just right away, they're like, wow, that was really, really good. So the base of this salad is, of course, our kale and some Brussels sprouts. So when people hear kale, this is exactly what they think. They see this bushy, thick, coarse, not appetizing, right? Nothing about this looks good. Like this is something that we stick on your plate at a diner for plate decoration. But there's so much more to kale. When we think about all of the antioxidants, and we think about the vitamin C, and we think about the folate and the fiber, there is a lot of nutrition packed in this leafy.
And cost is good too. The price of it is reasonable and doable.
Yes, because you can get a lot of it for a little, and it is just so filling. So I am going to grab my olive oil again, and this is the trick. You have to give your kale a little bit of TLC.
Okay.
You have to love and massage your kale. I know this is when you're starting to think I'm losing my mind, right? The three kids have really done you in, Meredith. No, no, no. So just a light spray of the olive oil.
Okay.
And all you're going to do is start to kind of massage the kale. And you can probably see already as it's starting to relax. So you're taking this very thick, tough, textured, leafy green and making it soft like the lettuce that we love, what's like our romaine and our iceberg.
Okay. And your Brussels sprouts I see sitting here. So you just chopped it up according to.
Absolutely. So shaved Brussels sprouts, just kind of trim, use a knife and cut them really close together. Or you could buy already shaved Brussels sprouts, which is what I typically like to do. But today I was able to cut them in just a few minutes. So you'll just continue to massage. You also at this time, if you haven't already done so, you will want to pick out some of the stems, the veins, just because they're not necessarily pleasurable to eat and be part of your salad. So once we get that done, you're really going to start to assemble your salad. This is where it gets really easy. So again, we have our kale and our Brussels sprout base, and then we are going to add a cup of cooked quinoa. What I love about quinoa is it is one of those grains that has all of the essential amino acids. So it's a complete protein, which is not very typical. So I love the fact that we have the protein, we have the fiber. It could be used in place of rice, and then there's a lot more nutrition about it. It's so easy to make. It's a 2-to-1 ratio. So if you were to use 1 cup of grain, you would use 2 cups of water, and it's cooked in about 15 minutes.
And now this is like a plain, is there because there's a lot of flavors, right?
Yes.
So do you recommend one over the other or just experiment?
For this one, I like to use plain because there's already so many different flavors going on in this salad. I have already cooked this in like a chicken broth to give it a little bit deeper flavor. But for today's purposes, I just did water, and I think you will be pleased with that. So again, we have our cooked quinoa, which you'll make ahead of time. This can also, if you make a large batch of quinoa, you could actually freeze that. So it's something that, you don't have to go to the stove every time you want quinoa. You could simply pull it out and have that ready to go. So we have our quinoa in there. Some dried cranberries. Again, we're thinking about texture. We're thinking about color. We're thinking about nutrition, flavor, and how it adds depth to a recipe. So we're going to add those, and you can see we have some beautiful colors in here now. Next, a little sprinkle of our feta cheese.
And speaking of colorful, it also it's very simple. You're adding all these ingredients, very easy to make and do. Isn't that wonderful to offer like a guest that comes over?
Absolutely.
And it's real simple, and yet you can have a wonderful salad and dine together and share your day and whatever.
Right. I always encourage people to make it special, to take that one extra step, which is why I really suggest to try different recipes and try to expand outside of the normal recipes we make all the time. You put effort into so much throughout your life. Make sure that food is one of them, selecting food, preparing food, getting familiar. And when I go out and I talk to kids in schools, I try to explain to them how important it is to cook, because it's a skill we're in all different skill sets.
Yes.
Chef Tim is on a whole different skill set than I am, but we're all good. So next is the really important, this is like the highlight of this recipe, are the balsamic-glazed walnuts. So with these walnuts, you actually roast them on the stovetop, which I did ahead of time because they do need to cool, with a little butter or olive oil. You can make that choice. They both come out equally well. I tend to go on the lesser side of what the recipe recommends. So you would have one of those, and then garlic. You put your walnuts in, and then they cook for about 5 to 7 minutes. And you smell what the house smells like right now. The smell is absolutely almost intoxicating. It smells so good. And they still smell really great. So they have cooled. And now we're going to add our Alessi balsamic vinegar. And this is actually a recipe from our friends at Alessi. They do some of the wonderful Italian dips and sauces. So this recipe can be found at walnuts.org and then also on the Alessi website. So I'm going to add a little bit of the...
I'm just going to move this and change.
Sure.
I want to make sure we can see that. Okay.
The balsamic vinegar. And another thing I love about these recipes is You could add as much or as little as you want for the most part. You know, these are not a very high skill set where you're going to mess something up.
Okay.
They're pretty forgiving. And then a squeeze of some fresh lemon. And mix that together. And then you are going to, right? And we're going to top that right on our salad here. And then, Ann, I'm going to put you to work here, right? If you would like to start using the salad forks and kind of get that mixed together, I'm going to grab the taco meat off the stove. So in just a few minutes, you see that we were able to prepare this lovely nutritious salad and then also plant-based tacos. I think we're almost ready for dinner, right?
I am.
Okay, so I am going to fill the taco shells with the mushroom and walnut mixture. And it is unbelievable. I mean, that
makes a lot. Yeah,
that looks like ground beef, right?
Yeah. And you're filling what,
three tacos over here. Okay. Yep. So, and I really did not use, like I said, I only used about a cup of walnuts. Another tip that I more recently learned, you know, I get excited to learn things, but then I'm always bummed that I didn't know it a long time ago. So walnuts should be stored in the refrigerator or freezer. Okay. So you knew this?
I knew it, but I didn't know if it was an old thing that we just did. Do you know what I mean? Yep. I didn't know if it was supposed to be or not, you know?
So stick to that because it is something that we absolutely should do. It's going to help them stay fresher longer. So again, an airtight, I will most likely take them out of this bag, put them in a nice resealable bag, and then get them in the refrigerator. Because again, you know, this has 3.5 cups, so this is a large.
And knowing that, and you purchased that reasonable, you've got 2 recipes to use that now. But as you said, you can go to the website and you can really make use of that bag on all different ways and get all of that additional nutrients that brings.
Absolutely, absolutely. So now I'm going to top off my tacos here. So again, we have the plant-based mixture here in the tortillas, and I have a spoon. So I'm going to add a little fire roasted corn. Again, think about color, think about texture. What can I add extra? I always give the example of scrambled eggs in the morning. You know, a lot of people love eggs, but what could you do to take them to the next level? Okay, can you add onions? Can you add peppers? Can you add tomatoes, spinach, a little bit of cheese? And now you actually sit down and think, wow, I had a meal. I'm full. I'm satisfied. And you added a lot of nutrition in the meantime, you know, and especially if you get them that they're already diced and prepared at Redners Markets, you don't even have to do the chopping. It's great. It's fabulous. So I'm going to add a little bit of this feta cheese here. And then, of course, this is the sauce that we need, the chipotle adobo. You only need a very little bit with this. And again, it's just to make sure that you're getting that chipotle flavor, that nice smoky, makes it feel like you didn't even make these. These are like if you're out at a restaurant. And they look nice and colorful. And then lastly, we're going to top with a little bit of cilantro. So those are our walnut mushroom Mexican street tacos. And
actually, you had some more. You could actually make a torch taco.
Oh, absolutely.
You have plenty of the base of that.
Yep. So how did you do with the salad here?
I guess okay.
Let's check it out.
I tried to get the nuts on top.
It looks great. So again, when you think about all those principles of a recipe, it really encompasses it all. But we, of course, forgot the salad dressing. So I'm going to make you continue to do a little bit more work. Right. So my favorite dressing that goes along with this recipe is a poppy seed dressing. The brand doesn't really matter. You could choose whatever you like. But a poppy seed dressing just tends to really bring all the flavors together. It's light enough that it continues to have that light, nutritious feel to it. So I'm just going to do a little drizzle on top. And then I'm going to put you back to work again, right? And then that is when I'm going to move into our dessert.
Can we have a minute? Maybe we can put up this recipe.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
On screen if we can. I don't know if you want to do should we just do the?
Yep. So again, the walnut Mexican street corn tacos, that recipe can be found at walnuts.org. And then our next recipe, which was the Kale Quinoa Salad, that can also be found at walnuts.org or the Alessi Alessi website.
Okay. All right. Oh, I like that.
That looks
tasty.
really good. So I will bring that up close for a little bit of close up. I know that we're getting some images on the screen, but there's nothing like the live real deal here, right? We'll see how close we are to the fancy pictures. And then, of course, our last recipe, our third must-have recipe, no-bake peanut butter and chocolate bites.
Oh, well, that's right up my alley. Of course.
This has been one that I've been...
You can indulge. You've got lots of good fibers and things here. It sounds like we are...
You have to have that little extra sweet ending, right? And I love this one because it's a no-bake. It's quick, it's easy, and it's portion controlled. I'm going to use my little melon baller here just to make sure that we're keeping that, portion in control. So I am heading back over to the stove.
Okay.
And I always laugh because no matter how many times I make these recipes, I still love to have my recipe with me because it's just so easy. And now, I think I even always have my phone because I have some recipe apps on there that I could quickly pull those up. And it just helps kind of keep me on track because, you're busy and you're not always paying attention to every single thing you're doing. So to be able to go through that recipe and have it right there at your fingertips, I think is pretty awesome. So here we are going to have a third cup of milk.
And that can be any kind of milk?
Yep, I'm using skim milk here.
Oh, okay.
And then I am using an alternative sweetener. And I'm going to actually grab a spoon here. So you can use sugar if you would like. I'm using a stevia domino blend. So for those of you watching your blood sugars or watching calories and stuff, you can certainly use a more natural alternative sweetener. Okay. So we're going to mix that up. And all this is going to do is this is going to come to a boil. So that will just take about a minute or so. This is one of those recipes that it's so fast to make. And then you put it in the refrigerator to sit a while. And it is very hard to have that waiting game. It's only about 30 minutes. And you could pick a little from there. So anyway, so I have, so this is already here boiling. And next we're going to do is I'm going to add in the peanut butter.
And that's about how much peanut butter
That's about a half a cup of peanut butter.
Oh, okay. And that's a creamy
yes.
peanut butter.
And I am removing it from the heat, adding in the vanilla.
Okay.
And I'm going to add in 2 cups of oats.
And I'm going to say, I'm
going to bring this over this way.
I'm going to show the container, so I'm just going to do that.
Absolutely.
That's okay. You just did old-fashioned oats?
Yep.
All righty.
So I'm mixing all of these together with a little, I know, it's getting better, right? Chocolate chips.
And that's just a little bit.
Just a little bit. It was 3 tablespoons. Okay. So you can see the consistency here. We're just mixing it all together. That peanut butter got nice and melty. And once you have it all mixed together, all you need is a little bit of parchment paper and a melon baller.
Just out of your way so we can see. How about these on? Perfect.
And this is it. It's just that simple.
Oh, wow.
So that's a record. Less than 5 minutes.
I can do that.
Yeah.
It sounds like a fun treat too. Like something you can whip up quick, maybe post some activity of some sort that everybody's in until they relax and move. You can have that done and in the fridge, and soon thereafter we can have that little snack.
I have already put these in the freezer to make sure that I have them anytime I'm looking for that little sweet ending. I could go right there. And again, they're bite size. They are roughly around like 70 calories or so. So again, and you feel good. And you feel satisfied. So I know we only have about 3 minutes left. So if you want, I'm going to continue to do these.
Absolutely. And then did we show this recipe on the screen? We can show that on the screen to see how all the ingredients and then this recipe also can be found.
Yep, this recipe can be found actually on our website at Redners Markets.
Oh, okay.
And then I believe it's also on the Stevia website as well.
And this is the no bake
peanut butter chocolate bites.
Got it.
Yes. Yeah, so these recipes, along with, oh, if we could get to the bottom here. There we go. Many more recipes can be found in our Redners Health Sense magazine. So this is a magazine that goes out 6 times a year, every other month. And there's a lot of really great healthy living tips and recipes in here. So definitely check it out. It's available for free in all of our stores.
Okay, where can we get it? Okay,
yeah.
Good.
Or available on our website at rednersmarkets.com. So this one is our March-April edition that just came out. So make sure you check it out. Some great St. Patty's Day.
Oh, okay. Yep. All right. Well, and I do want to mention that Meredith is involved with a program through Berks Encore, and it's a program they've done, a 4-week session called Eat Well and Be Well. And I know that that's a very good program talking about nutrition and all kinds of aspects of from purchasing food to, I guess, the table.
Yeah, and even food safety. And then the very last class, we actually make all of these recipes here, along with a few more.
Okay, interesting. Very good. Anything else that you want to talk about? So we stick that in the refrigerator. We can eat that when? 5 minutes.
It only takes about 30 minutes. So by the time you finish your tacos and eat your salad and you're ready for dessert, it will be ready to go. And then you could store the leftovers, if there is any, in a nice airtight container. And then, you could have them throughout the week.
Okay, good. And so we can get the recipes. One more time, tell us where we can get the recipes.
Walnuts.org or the Alessi website. Of course, you could always check them out at the rednersmarkets.com. We have a lot of recipes there. Here's our Health Sense magazine. And then don't forget that we also have our Redners Ready, which is our online ordering and pickup. It's available now in all of our markets. I use it often. It's so quick and easy to go on, place your order. You know what your, the recipes that you have lined up for the week. And that's really part of that planning and preparation. This way, you're not always scrambling for what am I going to eat? On a Saturday or Sunday, you could think, what does my week look like? What kind of recipes do I want to make? You could do your order online at Redners, go and pick it up in a few hours, and you don't even have to grocery shop.
Perfect. Well, I thank you so much for sharing the 3 easy recipes and the must-have recipes, and also a little bit about March being National Nutrition Month. So knowing that it's the beginning of March, I encourage everybody to access these recipes and more, and the magazine through Redners, so that you can try some new things and enjoy having a good, nutritious, healthy meal. So thank you so much, Meredith. I appreciate you taking the time and sharing this with us.
Thank you, Ann.
Thanks for tuning in to Aging Matters.